Hi everyone and welcome to this video. In this video I want to talk about differentiation formulas part 2. Please watch the video on differentiation formulas part 1, because if you don't watch that then this is not going to make sense. So in this video I want to cover the product rule and the quotient rule. So let's go over the product rule. When you multiply two functions, f of x times g of x, the derivative of that, you take the derivative of the first function, f of x, times the second function, which is g of x, and you take the derivative of the second function, which is g of x, times the first function, which is f of x. Now, there are different ways of writing this, and they're shorter and easier to remember. If f of x is u of x times v of x, so these are our functions, then f prime of x is u prime of x times v of x plus v prime of x times u of x. And if you take the x's out, again, it's faster and better to remember. If f of x is u times v, then f prime of x is u prime v plus v prime times u. Also, the derivative of f times g is f prime g plus g prime times f. Let's go over some examples so you can see this better. If f of x is 3x squared times 4x to the 5th power, so this is our u and this is our v. And you can write it like that. U is 3x squared, u prime is 6x, v is 4x to the 5th power, and v prime is 20x to the 4th power. F prime of x is u prime times v, u prime is 6x from here, times v, which is 4x to the 5th power, plus v prime is 20x to the 4th power, times u, which is 3x squared. And if you combine the multiply and combine like terms, so you get 24 x to the 6th power plus 60 x to the 6th power, which is 84 x to the 6th power. Let's check that doing it by the power. 3x squared times 4x to the 5th power is 12x to the 7th, and the derivative of 12x to the 7th is 84x to the 6th power, which is the same answer. Now you're going to say this is much faster, but not all the functions you can do it by using the power rule, because sometimes you have larger exponents here and it gets more complicated, so you will need to use the product rule. Let's do this second example. F of x is 5x squared minus 2 times x cubed plus 3x, and that's our u times v. So u is 5x squared minus 2, v is x cubed plus 3x. The derivative of u prime is 10x. Again, the derivative of 5x squared is 10x, and the derivative of negative 2, that's a constant, it's 0. The derivative of x cubed is 3x squared, and the derivative of 3x is 3. Let's use the formula u prime times v, which is x cubed plus 3x, and v prime, which is that, times u, which is that, 5x squared minus 2. So distribute, you're going to get 10x to the 4th power plus 30x squared. 3 times 5x squared is 15x to the 4th power, and again add the exponents. When you multiply, 3x squared minus 2 is negative 6x squared. 3 times 15x squared is 15x squared, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. If you combine all these terms, you get 25x to the 4th power plus 39x squared minus 6. Now we can check this one too. If you for this expression, you're going to get 5x to the 5th power plus 15x cubed minus 2x cubed minus 6x. So combine like terms, you get 5x to the 5th power plus 13x cubed minus 6x. Now you can take the derivative of that. The derivative of 5x to the 5th power is 25x4. The derivative of 13x cubed is 39x squared, and the derivative of negative 6x is negative 6. And as you see, we got the same answer. One more time. You might say this is much faster, which it is in this case. However, know the product rule because the functions are going to get more complicated in the future. So this one again, let's do this example number 3. This is our u, 1 over x squared minus 3 x to the 4th power, and this is our v. So to take the derivative of that, you need to make it in a way so you can use the power. So 1 over x squared is x to the power of negative 2, and negative 3x over x4 is negative 3x to the power of negative 4. This is okay. So let's start our u prime v plus v prime u. You don't have to write u v u prime v prime. You can just do it from here. U prime is the derivative of that expression, which is negative 2x to the power of negative 3 plus 12x to the power of negative 5. Our v is right here. So this is u prime times v. V prime is the derivative of that expression is 1 plus 15x squared, and our u is x to the power of negative 2 minus 3x to the power of negative 4. You can simplify for those expressions. So the first one, you get negative 2x to the power of negative 2, negative 2x to the power of negative 3 times 5x cubed is negative 10. That times that is going to give us 12x to the power of negative 4, and that times that is going to give you 60x to the power of negative 2. 1 times x to the power of negative 2 is x to the power of negative 2. 1 times negative 3x to the 4th power is negative 3x to the power of negative 4. And the 15x squared times x to the power of negative 2 is 15. And finally, this is negative 45x to the power of negative 2. If you combine like terms, again, you have negative 2x to the power of negative 2, 60x to the power of negative 2, x to the power of negative 2, and negative 45x to the power of negative 2. This is going to give you 14x to the power of negative 2. Negative 10 plus 15 is 5. And finally, 9x to the power of negative 4. 12x to the power of negative 4 minus 3x to the power of negative 4 is 9x to the power of negative 4. So change the negative exponents to positive. You can write 5 first. 14x to the power of negative 2 is 14 over x squared, and 9x to the power of negative 2 is 9 over x to the 4th power. So that was the product rule. Now let's talk about the quotient rule. Quotient is when you divide two functions. So the derivative of that, you take the derivative of the numerator times the denominator. Here it's minus. Be very careful. Product rule was plus, but this is minus. The derivative of the denominator times the numerator. And that's all over the denominator squared. Different notations, you can say if f of x is u over v, then f prime of x is u prime v minus v prime u divided by v squared. Or to remember it better, you can say if f of x is numerator divided by the denominator, f prime of x is the derivative of the numerator times the denominator minus the derivative of the denominator times the numerator, and that's all over, not the numerator, but the denominator squared. Or the derivative of f over g is f prime times g minus g prime times f over g squared. So whichever one helps you to remember this easier and faster. Let's do an example. F of x is x squared plus 1 divided by x cubed minus 1. This is our u, and that's our v, or numerator and denominator. So if you want to write, when you start, you can just write those slowly and find the derivatives. U is x squared plus 1, so u prime is 2x. V is x cubed minus 1, v prime is 3x squared. U prime times v minus v prime times u, and that's all over x cubed minus 1 squared. Simplify, the numerator is 2x4 minus 2x minus 3x squared minus 3x squared, no, minus 3x4 there, sorry, that minus 3x squared over the denominator squared. Do not expand the denominator, you don't need to do that. And if you combine like terms, you get negative x to the 4th power minus 3x squared minus 2x over x cubed minus 1 squared. You can factor an x here, but no need to do that for this problem. Now let's do a different example by using these rules. It says find the equation of the tangent line to this function at point 1, 1. The equation of the tangent line, I went over this in one of the videos in calculus. It's y equals to f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a. This is just the point slope formula. So f of a here, our x is the x value. So it's f of 1, and it's given here. It's 1, but if you calculate it to make sure you do get 1. Then what you need is f prime of a. So you find the derivative of f of x first. F of x is 2x over x plus 1. That's u over v. So f prime is going to be u prime v, which is 2 times x plus 1 minus v prime u. Again, the derivative of v is 1 times u, and that's all over x plus 1 squared. If you combine like terms, multiply and combine like terms, this is our derivative, f prime of x, which is 2 over x plus 1 squared. But what we want is f prime of 1, which is the slope. So if you substitute, you get 1 over 2. So once you get that, then you can find the equation of the tangent line by using this formula. It's f of a minus f prime of a times x minus a. So it's f of 1 times f prime of 1 times x minus 1. So that's 1. And we found that to be 1/2 times x minus 1. And again, the last part is just simplifying. So you get y equals to 1 over 2x plus 1/2. So please watch this video a couple of times and do more examples. The proofs of those two rules, I'll do that in a separate video. Thank you for watching. Have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you in my next video.